This is HighIntensityBusiness.com with Lawrence Neal, helping you achieve your health and fitness goals. Become a great personal trainer and build your high-intensity strength training business.
Hi, it's Lawrence here from High Intensity Business. Just a very quick but very important introduction from me for this episode. So in this podcast, I interviewed Ratna Singh. Ratna is the CEO of CAR.O.L, and CAR.O.L provide the well-known CAR.O.L bike, which is a high-intensity interval training bike based on AI technology that provides you with a very efficient and effective workout. A big part of this episode is focused on the opportunity that CAR.O.L are providing you, the studio owner, with at this difficult time. And that opportunity is to be able to earn double commission, so that's $500 per sale you make to your client base. So your clients who are stuck at home looking for fitness solutions, maybe you're offering virtual training, that's excellent. And maybe you are making good revenue, but I know a lot of you are still struggling despite adding additional services. So it's the hope of myself and of Ratna and her team at CAR.O.L to help you with that and obviously provide you with double commissions, $500 per sale of the CAR.O.L bike to your end users. And hopefully this will really help keep business afloat during this difficult time and help you generate a bit more revenue. If you're interested, please go to carolfitai.com/pay-forward-registration. Now, I forgot to mention this during the podcast, and so I'll repeat that for you. So that's carolfitai, all one word, .com/pay-forward-registration. Now, if it's too hard to remember that or write that down right now, maybe you're driving, maybe you're cycling, maybe you're walking the dog, then just go to the show notes for this episode, go to highintensitybusiness.com and search for episode 260, and all the details to apply and register for this affiliate program will be in the show notes for you to do that. So anyway, without any further ado, please enjoy this episode of Ratna Singh. Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to highintensitybusiness.com. This is episode 260. Today's guest is CAR.O.L co-founder and CEO Ratna Singh. Ratna is founder and CEO of CAR.O.L, obviously. She is a serial entrepreneur with two companies sold at a successful exit. One company was in the nutrition space, while the other was in healthcare consulting. On top of this, having studied molecular biology at King's College London, Ratna is no stranger to the science of exercise and human health. Her latest venture stems from her time working with her co-founders out of McKinsey & Company, where she was Silicon Valley's first entrepreneur in residence. Today, she is taking on the world's fourth deadliest disease, inactivity, with revolutionary technology that so many of us have come to love already. And she lives in London with her husband, 2 kids, and a dog. Ratna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. The dog bit is really important for someone who has never been a dog lover.
I have a small Jack Russell, Rat Terrier, which is a Jack Russell derivative myself, and she is definitely a close member of the family now. So I understand where you're coming from.
How's she taking to the new baby?
Quite well, actually. Obviously, we were always a little bit concerned about how she might behave around the baby, and whether she would attack or anything like that. But thankfully, she's been quite passive. If anything, she's just grown more needy.
Oh gosh, jealous, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So she's just very attentive, and obviously she's not getting the same attention she once did because she's not the only baby in the house now. So, so I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show.
Cool.
I think what we're doing in terms of a partnership together to help the HIT studio owners is really awesome. And I think it's absolutely amazing of you to be doing this. And obviously we're going to be digging into the details of all of this. So the topic really is of this podcast, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of things, but one of the main topics is there's going to be a business opportunity here, a revenue opportunity for you, the studio owner, during what is obviously a very challenging time during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we'll be getting into that in a moment. But, there were people that be listening to this podcast who may have not heard of your business, Ratna, and your product. So do you want to talk about, just to kind of set the scene, do you want to describe exactly what is CAR.O.L and what are the health benefits that it provides?
Absolutely. So CAR.O.L stands for Cardiovascular Optimization Logic, and it is a play on HAL, which I loved as a younger person. HAL was in a movie called Space Odyssey 2001, directed by the incredible Mr. Kubrick, and it was a computer. It was an AI that went in space with these astronauts, and that's what our ambition is for CAR.O.L. For CAR.O.L to be your AI coach. Now, the technology right now exists for us to be able to really customize the workout dynamically for you, and based on your physiology, based on your ability, and based on your desire to do what you want to do. But CAR.O.L is something else as well. She delivers the exercise benefits of, say, a 45-minute jog or a 30-minute jog in just 40 seconds of hard work. And those 40 seconds are tailored to you, and that's why we had to build this particular exercise bike. It's not an ordinary exercise bike. So in essence, if you want to get fitter than you've ever been, whether you are young, whether you're old, whether you're fit, whether you're unfit, because the workout is tailored and maximized, we think that in 40 seconds, you will get all the benefits and more without sweating. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. And you have your life back. So we say that CAR.O.L will give you your fitness and your life.
That's a great sort of tagline. Yeah, it's interesting actually, because in the high intensity strength training, and I know you've spoken about on previous podcasts, you featured on how ambiguous the acronym high intensity training has become, and it equally irritates a lot of us in high intensity strength training, because we advocate for the most part slow strength training to muscular failure. And we obviously believe in that as a powerful and effective exercise modality, which is obviously high intensity interval training on a CAR.O.L bike is a nice adjunct to that. But it is frustrating, because when we talk about what we do to people, they throw us in a different category, and I'm sure you probably get the same kind of thing, same treatment, right? With confusion with Tabata and other things like that. Sorry, you're gonna? Yeah, no, you go ahead.
No, absolutely, and we even get insults. To be honest, if you look on our sometimes on our Facebook page, we've been called charlatans, snake oil sellers, and all kinds of things. But that's fine. That's what happens, and that's what it reinforces to us, that what we're doing is truly revolutionary, and we're not just any old exercise modality. I think that what you said earlier was completely the essence of what you and people, your listeners, and what we're trying to do. When you talked about muscle fatigue, that means that you have gone to do what's called supramaximal, which is above what is considered maximum. And that's why you are going to absolute fatigue, right? And that's exactly what happens to CAR.O.L. With CAR.O.L, it's supramaximal. We will take you completely out of your comfort zone, because left to your own devices, you will never go there, because your mind's going to give up before your body will. And it's that supramaximal that triggers the survival mechanisms in your body, and that's why you get the benefits so quickly and so much more effectively. So I think that's the key that we need to get across to people. And it's like the food pyramid. I keep saying that the food pyramid took a while, but it's now inverted. And we are taking the exercise pyramid and inverting it. And people like us have created this inverted exercise pyramid, and we own it. So, let's be proud that we are the pioneers. Let's be proud that eventually people will follow, and we'll be the ones that they'll be talking about. But for now, you just have to live with the pain of the insults and the get out of here type mentality, and just keep doing what you're doing. You'll get there eventually.
That's so fascinating. Yeah, it's I've not heard it being said like that in terms of the tipping the exercise pyramid upside down, but that actually makes a lot of sense, and that's just a great way of framing it, really. And I'm not sure if I agree that the food pyramid's been turned upside down. Whilst I agree with that as a principle, I don't know if that's agreed in society yet, unfortunately. And you'd think it would be by now, but doesn't seem like it is.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Perhaps I was a little bit too gung ho on that one. What I mean is that the awareness of the traditional food pyramid, like at the bottom, it's lots and lots of carbohydrates, and we're basically all realizing that it should be lower. So in a sense, maybe it's not turned upside down, but at least it's changed its shape.
It's like tipping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what we're doing is that, like, if you look at the exercise pyramid at the top, it says, spend very little time watching TV or whatever it is. And we're basically going to say, spend as much time as you like with your family and friends, doing what you enjoy, because you know what? In 40 seconds, you have done more than what those people who are slogging it out have done or are going to get. Trust me.
Yeah. So the time efficiency is obviously a huge benefit of this. My audience are very familiar with the research done by Martin Gabala's team over at McMaster related to comparing high intensity interval training protocols to long duration steady state, and how the outcomes were basically the same. So it's just tons more efficient. And I think, in fact, if I remember rightly, I think on the last podcast I did, Rahul, he cited some research that showed that it was actually more effective for various outcomes, which is really cool. So that's something we almost don't need to sell to my audience. They're already on board, and they are certainly I'd say, there are certainly some dogmatic people in high intensity training that are very principled and, would only really be pushing strength training. But I think there's also a number of people that see the value in this. So I want to talk about that for a moment in terms of why it does appeal to people. I mean, we talked there about how it's so efficient. I mean, you've really described that very well. But also, I'm just curious, what have you seen? Having you obviously been a successful business, you've grown rapidly, and you've got units all over the world in different contexts. So I'd love to hear what feedback you're getting from people.
Okay, I will certainly talk about the feedback, and I will also say that the reason we've built what we've built is because Martin Gibala and anybody who's doing the research will tell you that they do not use normal exercise bikes. They use highly specialized bikes, and it needs an exercise physiologist to be standing next to them, applying the right resistance, controlling the timing and all that kind of stuff, because what they do in the laboratory is supramaximal. By yourself, you couldn't do that. And in order to generate supramaximal, you need a resistance, which is personalized to you. It's maximum, but doable. And that's based on a formula. And they do it. Now, when we saw this equipment in the lab, we just thought there's just no way in hell that, we're going to be able to sell this to anybody in the home, because it's clunky, it's too manual, and you need two people to operate it. And so what we have done is taken 60 years of research, developed CAR.O.L, which is supramaximal. It is the replication of the laboratory systems and the protocols, exactly the same. The difference is that CAR.O.L is smart. The exercise equipment in the laboratories are, when they do the research, once they set the resistance at the beginning of their trial, their exercise study, they don't change it. And so the results that they get are based on, that particular resistance level. Now, as you go through the 8 weeks of the trial, you are going to get fitter, but the resistance doesn't change. Whereas CAR.O.L will change your resistance in every ride, depending on your fitness level at that time, because we're measuring so many elements of your physiology. And that's why the very first study that was done using CAR.O.L by the American Council on Exercise and University of Colorado, Dr. Lance Dalek, it showed the results to be far better than any of those HIIT results have shown, simply because CAR.O.L does not let you get your plateau. She just, until you're genetically, this is your genetic best. Mm-hmm. So I think that what we have is something better even than the lab result equipment. It's your exercise physiologist in your home. But now there, a lot of the researchers are using us. I don't know if you read Martin Gabala's book. He's a lovely man, very open-minded. He gave us practically an entire chapter. He wrote about us. At the time, we were called High Octane Ride. But he said that, imagine, we used to have these pods as well for privacy purposes, because imagine in the pods, anywhere and everywhere people congregate, there'll be no more excuse for not exercising. And instead of going for a cigarette break, go have a high octane ride break, and it's so much better for you. So he's wonderful. We love him, and he has said that. Back to your question about testimonials. Now, pretty much everybody who buys CAR.O.L buys it with a hint of skepticism, and once they start using it, all that skepticism is just gone out of the water. And that applies to professional athletes. It applies to people like me who are, just normal people. It applies to young. It applies to old. And if I may, I'll just read you. And by the way, we don't solicit any of these testimonials just because we don't have time, but people kindly send them in. So Mark McCoy, he's a Canadian Olympic gold medalist, sprinting runner. And this is what he says. I have been in the industry and training myself for almost half a century now. You could say it's not what I do, but who I am, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I enjoy pure power and speed. As a runner, the absolute worst for me is the dreaded bike. Never liked it. I always tell my clients to avoid them like the plague. Yet, I find myself with a CAR.O.L bike in my basement. It's the first thing I use with my clients and myself, and often the only form of training. Why? In my 20 years as an athlete and 20 years since, I find CAR.O.L to be the most efficient and effective training tool in my arsenal. I have seen the greatest gains in the shortest amount of time. As an Olympic gold medalist and being in the industry for as long as I have come across just about every training modality, none as effective as CAR.O.L. Because we have limited time, whether you're an Olympian, a pro athlete, or a busy exec, time is of the essence. And CAR.O.L is now a staple in and the foundation of the training programs I set up for myself and my clients.
Wow. Well, an excellent testimonial from such a high-profile person. I'm curious, do you have any there that are non-athlete and specifically, if possible, and it's a big ask, I'm asking you on the spot, is any kind of business executive type, affluent individuals, private individuals, that kind of thing?
Oh, those are the majority of our testimonials. Yeah. Absolutely the majority. So I'll give you one here. I've been using CAR.O.L bike since the summer, and I recently had my blood work done. My triglycerides went from 288 last year to 94 this year. My HDL went from 50 to 60, and total cholesterol is at 185, up from 175. I'm thrilled with my results. Another one, I've been exercising every day since I got the bike. It's so much fun. I've recommended it to so many of my friends. And this one's really good. My time is valuable and my joints have a shelf life. It's so awesome knowing that this part of my life is completely handled in minutes per week. No more daily 45-minute cardio. No more wondering what program to do. No more wondering if my cardio is even working. CAR.O.L rocks.
Awesome.
And sorry, one more. I do like this one because this gentleman actually came into our showroom in Harvey Nichols to tell me this, and I've got him on video. I mean, he was so kind of him to just pop in. He said, I'm a heart patient and I use CAR.O.L most days. I just had my bloods done and my cholesterol was down to 2. That's the way we measure it in England. 2 is low. My doctor asked me what I was doing, and I said, CAR.O.L. Thank you, guys. I didn't exercise before I got CAR.O.L.
Wow. That's a big one.
And I have another lady, I don't have it written down, but she's there. She's very high profile. She's in her 60s. You would not think that she is your typical, athlete or anything, because she's a computer scientist. And she told me that when she got CAR.O.L, she was scared. She thought, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? It looks like too much hard work. And then she says, but I can. And she's delighted that she can do it and feels great. And I said, yeah, because it's going to adapt to you. That's the thing. She's going to adapt to your ability while training you maximally. And I think that's the concept that's really hard for people to understand. How do you do that? And, we have many measurements that we take that allow us to know whether you are able to cope with this or not. And that's how it works.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's probably important to mention there's quite a few businesses in our sector that are using this, and I literally just pulled off ones that came from the top of my head, and that's Hacked Fitness over in New York. Obviously, New York really suffering at the moment. Hopefully, that doesn't go on for too long. Quantify Fitness. Live Oak Strength, Smarter Exercise. This is just a handful of high intensity focused studios who are getting amazing benefits with CAR.O.L, and it's just been very popular with their clientele. So I think that they're all using it. At least 3 out of 4 of those are definitely using it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of them. And there's one particular gentleman who stays in touch with me because there's 2. There's Josh at Quantify Fitness.
Okay, so 4 out of 4 then.
Who got CAR.O.L and he loves it. But also I've got a guy called Hansel Conroy. He owns Crowbar Gyms. He's got about 3 or 4 CAR.O.Ls.
I know Hansel.
You know Hansel. And he just told me that, I'm just reading the text message he sent me. I've used all my jewels, and even the shortest one has taken 16 minutes off of one of my athletes and 10 minutes off of another athlete's time. So, he loves it. He just literally just sends me these things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, he uses ARX too.
Yeah, ARX
obviously it's a nice combo with ARX.
Yeah, we're the little sister. We're the cardio sister to ARX.
Awesome. So I think I want to get into the opportunity for the business owner here with you, Ratna. And I also want to just take this moment to say, if you're interested in learning more about the health benefits of CAR.O.L and you want to hear a little bit of debate with me and Rahul, then please go and listen to our other episode after this, and that's number 205 with Rahul Burnnath. And you can also listen to my episode with Tom Toombs from Smarter Exercise. That's number 246. And that's actually a case study. So that's him talking about his acquisition of CAR.O.L and how he's implemented it into his business, how he's positioned it, priced it, how he's doing in terms of revenues, that kind of thing. So that will be really valuable too. But I'm really keen to talk about the business opportunity here. So clearly right now, just to set the scene, everyone's struggling, right? There are a lot of businesses that are really feeling this pinch. In the context of what we're talking about, studio owners have had to shut down across the globe. And it's really tough right now to make revenue. Many of them, and I think this is a really smart decision, have moved to doing virtual personal training. Yeah. And thankfully, that seems to be resonating really well with a lot of their client bases. So that's great. And I think that's just the logical move for a lot of these businesses. But there are other ways to generate revenue. And obviously, this is one of those. And so did you want to just kind of introduce this opportunity, Ratna, and then we'll sort of talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, again, the entrepreneurs who own these studios, absolutely, my heart bleeds when I see what's happening to everyone. I mean, I live in London. I go out and look at the shops. They're shut. Their windows are closed. I mean, Harrods, has not had its lights on for weeks now. I mean, I've never in my life seen Harrods not have its lights on and its windows are covered. And you just think, good God, how on earth is our economy going to recover from all of this? And you've got great people doing these at-home workouts. Julian Massler at Aurum Fitness in Zurich.
Yeah.
Have you seen them? They're hilarious, actually, because he seems to just really enjoy it. It's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm like, Julian, and there's the other 2 guys who are doing it with him. I just pooped out on the floor and Julian just keeps going. It's crazy.
I only just discovered Julian recently because I was talking to the guys at ARX and I was sort of trying to find out, who else would be great for the podcast. And I didn't even know of Julian. And then they told me that he's just a wonderful entrepreneur and a great guy, and reached out to him. And we're actually going to do a podcast together. I think it's in the next few weeks, or at the very most a month or 2. So no, that's awesome to hear that you're connected, and he's obviously using the CAR.O.L as well. A great effect.
No, he's become a really good friend, and I think we had some sort of kindred spirits in many ways. We both share an incredibly poor taste sense of humor. And don't let that baby face and beard fool you. The guy is the nutcase, but he is brilliant. Love him to pieces. Yeah.
I'll bear that in mind.
Yeah. It's a nutter. Nothing you say is going to shock him. In fact, he'll just consider it to be normal, conversation.
Good. Oh, it's good to know he's got a good sense of humor. That'll make for a good podcast.
Wicked sense of humor. Okay.
Sorry, did you want to, I kind of took you off base there. So did you want to just resume with, I appreciate you've got a lot of empathy for the business owners right now.
Yeah, I do. I really do. And I have empathy for everybody like that. So what we can do to our bit, we have a campaign. It's called Pay It Forward. And the reason we have that campaign is because during my early days, when I started out, I had nothing. And so many people helped me. And this is just our way of saying thank you. So for the business owners, who already sell CAR.O.L bikes, by the way, they already do it because they don't actually lose revenue because they sell CAR.O.L. People still go into their studios to do the strength work on ARX, which is brilliant, and on Juve and all the other things that the studios offer. Mm-hmm. So what we've done is that we've increased the amount of commission that they get per bike, and it's now $500. We're also offering a very for the customers who buy the CAR.O.L bike, they also are being given the first year of the subscription for free, and the shipping, which is worth $295, is also free. So we're taking a huge hit from a margin perspective here, but we hope that this will help the customers, our customers, sell the bikes and make some money out of it. Yesterday we had a guy call who's great. He said that he's already made $1,500, and at least that helped pay something towards his bills. And we've only launched this program about a week ago. I don't believe that we're also charging our customers any license fees while this horrible thing is going on. So that's good. When we make no margin out of that one. We're also donating to hospitals for their staff should they want to use it. And I don't know. I think Rahul has got a couple of other ideas as well to facilitate some online classes to our customer base who are not necessarily customers of the owners of studios, but they may live in that area. So it might be good to just facilitate that level of awareness that, should you now want to go and do some strength training or whatever, here's a group of people who can help you do that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think it's a great opportunity. So it's $500 commission per unit sold, which you're right. I mean, it can make a significant dent it could contribute significant revenue in this situation for a lot of the studio owners. And so is there a landing page? I think Rahul said there was going to be a landing page set up for this where obviously businesses have to put in their information, apply for that scheme.
I'll have to ask him about the details of that. But, every single one of our owners knows us personally, so they can always just drop us an email and we can sort that out. But I'm pretty sure that there is a code that they can use or their customers can use when they're buying, and it will identify who made the sale, and so the appropriate discount can go to them. But also remember, we're making it easier for the studio owners to sell to their clients who are already aware of CAR.O.L, who already know CAR.O.L. And selling CAR.O.L doesn't affect negatively the studio owners' business at all. So for the customers, it's free shipping, which is normally $300 or $295, and the first year subscription is free. So, the customers are getting $450 worth of value there.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I mean, once you have the landing page URL, let me know, and I will record an intro to this, so they would have already heard this, which is strange to say. And I will just record the call to action, the link there for the intro, so that people know exactly what to do to take advantage of this opportunity.
Brilliant. That's great. Certainly, we'll do that.
No problem at all. And you've already kind of talked about this, but this is a lot of high intensity training studio owners. A lot of their clientele are relatively affluent. They tend to position themselves at a premium price point because they are delivering excellent value. and their clientele are quite often high profile or busy executives or quite wealthy individuals. And so this is a great fit because, as you were saying there, the type of people that invest in CAR.O.L bikes tend to have a bit of money.
They do have a bit of money, but we also have a payment plan. So people who don't have money can apply and can still have it. Over time, we will probably offer a different kind of a purchase model, but we haven't worked that up yet. But, it costs more for companies like ARX and us to make what we are making. It's not like we don't have a bog standard exercise bike. It's got a lot of pieces in there that are like an ergometer. So you've got an exercise physiologist and an ergometer at home. And the same with ARX. I know that it's very it's expensive to make these things. So we have to and time is of a premium. And so people who value their time pay for this so that they can be effective and make more money and improve their careers, improve whatever aspect of their life they want to do. So, yes, people who are buying tend to be higher net worth, but that's not to say that people with lesser means couldn't apply for a a firm 0% interest payment scheme that we have.
Sure. Yeah. I suppose I didn't want to sound like I was discounting the other clientele, but I guess I was just describing why I think that this offer is a good fit for a lot of the high intensity studio businesses out there, because a lot of their clientele are going to be of that ilk, and so it's going to be ideal. It's going to be an awesome tool for them to add to their exercise regime while they're stuck at home.
You bet.
At this time, it's interesting, right? So I live in Galway in Ireland, and there are bikes all over the place in people's homes around here. So I'm constantly walking the dog, and everyone probably thinks I'm some weird stalker looking in their house as I walk around. But it's just because I'm so curious. And everyone's got a bike of some kind. It's definitely not a CAR.O.L, because I imagine it's more of a older, clunkier device. And they've all got it, and they've got it sort of positioned for some reason in front of their main sort of bay windows in their living room. So I don't know whether it's because they couldn't find anywhere else to put it, but so it's interesting, because it seems to me there's a lot of interest in this particular piece of exercise equipment, and I imagine there's a lot of untapped resources for you all over the place, really, all over the world, which you're, I suppose, working to fill those needs. One of the questions I had in terms of helping the listeners position this is in the US, for example, Peloton is huge, right? So how do you differentiate CAR.O.L to Peloton?
Hello?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, there, you're back. Yeah. So, yes, you're right. There are lots of bikes there, and people are using them. And I guess they're probably putting them in their window to show that, hey, I'm still exercising at home. It's like a badge of honor, which is great. Peloton have done an incredible job of creating a business, and I always say my hat is off to them. But we are as different to Peloton as chalk is from cheese. Peloton, I would say, still belong in the old pyramid. Our pyramid is about 40 seconds to better fitness. Our pyramid is about efficiency, technology. It's about physiology and personalization for you. And I can tell you that there are loads of people who just compliment us. And I, again, don't want to say anything bad about Peloton in any way, because it's not good. But there's a gentleman who's a journalist. He works for a very high-end newspaper, Global. All the business execs will definitely read it. And he has a Peloton. He bought a Peloton. He's got a CAR.O.L. And he said, CAR.O.L's fantastic. I'm already noticing my fitness level is rocketing. I just did a stiff 30 minutes on my Peloton and shrugged it off before he would be wiped out by that. So, it just goes to tell you that 40 seconds versus an hour of whatever it is that he does, or 30 minutes, it just improves your fitness. So people, our biggest problem is that they look at that and they go, that's just a regular exercise bike. And I think that's the point that we need to get across. This is not an exercise bike. It's an intelligent software system with pedals.
I'm no expert when it comes to exercise bikes at all, but from my perspective, it just looks to me also that the Peloton bike is for a completely different market. For example, if you're a really, really keen cyclist, if you're a triathlete or someone who does long distance cycling, then the Peloton's probably a good fit because those are designed for that type of training, to replicate that event as closely as possible in the comfort of your home. And obviously they have trainers that actually train you live. You have a console there. So that's for me, that's like they're getting ready for an event. It's kind of like a different objective entirely, whereas the CAR.O.L's more focused on super efficient fitness. Is that fair?
Yes and no. So I think that Peloton is about content. It's about entertainment. And that's why in the fitness industry, that's exactly what everybody does. The only way to keep people exercising is to give them something to help with the boredom, be it a fitness class, be it great music, be it,
right,
slick looking design or a huge screen. At the end of the day, it's still 45 minutes of boredom. And that's why 80% of the population in the world doesn't exercise. Now, I will tell you that most of those 80% will never exercise, and that's fine. But there is a big chunk that will, because what is available right now does not work for them, me included. Wouldn't catch me dead in a gym. I would not get on a treadmill or a spinning bike because I just hate it. I hate that time. It's just boring. It's not as effective. I'm just not willing to commit that time for that. But CAR.O.L, bang, no problem at all. Now, when you said that about cyclists and stuff, you can do everything that a pro cyclist can do on other exercise bikes on CAR.O.L. There's 2 professional modes that we haven't unlocked for our normal customers, but many of the studios have it. One of them is called the constant power mode, and the other one is called the constant ramp up mode. So the constant power is the equivalent of what's called the FTP, your functional threshold power, which is what cyclists use to see how they're doing. It's the measure of their performance, right? The FTP. So how it works is that they will set on a bike a resistance level at say 400 watts, and they'll see how long they can go at 400 watts. If you're getting fitter, you'll go from at 400 watts for 10 minutes to say 15 or 20, whatever. I'm not sure. I'm sure you can do that on a Peloton. I wouldn't know, but you most certainly can do that on CAR.O.L. You can just say set 500, see how long I can go until I fatigue, and CAR.O.L will obviously record all your performance and put it in your account, so you always have that reference. The other one is again a measure of your fitness, and some clients use it for VO2 max measurements as long as you have a portable gas analyzer. So you get on CAR.O.L and then you basically start your pedaling, and she will increase resistance. She will increase resistance by or power, I think, by 1 watt every 3 seconds. And so it's a constantly increasing resistance until you get to absolute fatigue. Again, the fitter you are, the longer you can go. And this is a measure of your fitness. For cyclists, this is again important. And many cyclists will tell you that the difference between a win and a lose is your how well your anaerobic system can cope. And obviously the CAR.O.L bike is training your anaerobic system like nothing else, because it's pure anaerobic exercise when you do the 40-second exercise. And so you do get much fitter. So I would say if you're a pro, it would be sensible to use CAR.O.L to train you, and you use CAR.O.L to test your FTP and also to see how long you can go on the fatigue model that we have.
Excellent. Okay. And I was also thinking, when it comes to positioning this, I think it's again, I know I keep saying it's logical, but it's just important to bear this in mind. we've talked about how efficient this is, and that's one of the key differentiators. And it's also evidence based. There's lots of research supporting this device. So the reason that you're free thinking, Ratna, why is Lawrence saying all this stuff? Well, the reason I'm saying it is because a lot of the HIIT studio owners will differentiate their services already. Because they are more efficient. Most people are doing the strength training that they do once or twice a week, maximum 3 times a week, so they can define themselves as being efficient. And a lot of it is evidence-based, based on the latest scientific literature. And so this slides quite nicely into how they already differentiate themselves. So I'm just thinking of when they are to send email campaigns or any sort of messaging, they can sort of just explain how this fits into their into what already makes them unique and into their brand congruently, and that's going to be quite effective.
No, absolutely, and we can help them with that. We can help them with images. We can help them with any infographics and stuff. That's not a problem. We can certainly help. But I think it's important for the listeners to understand. I think, and consumers to understand, is that the very fact that you go on an ARX machine and you get all the benefits in such a short time is because it's supramaximal. It's physically impossible to do exercise at that level without, for longer periods of time. And because you go to supramaximal, i.e. above and beyond what's considered maximum, your body goes into a shock state, and it has to change and adapt to make you able to cope that supramaximal load that you're putting on it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you carry on doing the same thing as you've ever done, if you just do the spinning class, if you jog at a gentle pace, that's all your body's going to be able to do. So it is not just efficient, it's more effective, and your survival pathways get turned on. I don't know if you've read any of what the amazing Dr. David Sinclair is writing and talking about, but he talks about exercise and this kind of exercise being a key component that switch on your longevity pathways. And it works for that reason. If you put, as humans, we have adapted through all this change in, over time from caveman to what we are now. So we are very willing to change, to adapt. And that's what ARX, CAR.O.L, other people do. They just push you beyond your comfort zone, way beyond it, so that your body goes, oh my God, that's this person's new reality. I'd better change, or this person's going to be extinct. And because, if you're exercising at that level, it's physically impossible to do it for longer than a few seconds, a few minutes. So when people tell me, they come to me, yeah, I do high intensity all the time. I do high intensity bike rides, spinning classes. I said, okay, how long do they last? Oh, 15, 20 minutes. And I said, okay, you're not doing high intensity. And then they get really upset with me. And then they'll say, oh, I do interval training and I sprint for a minute. And I say, that's not high intensity sprint in the way that the scientists define it, in the way CAR.O.L defines it, because I can guarantee, and I will put money on it, that anybody who comes on a bike and reaches their peak power, they literally have never seen, there's over 500,000 rides now. We've never seen anybody, even a pro athlete, hold that peak power for more than a fraction of a second. It wouldn't be possible. They reach within 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and then they start dropping. And that's the idea, that you just can't do more. And that is what causes all the changes.
One of the things I thought was really impressive with the technology, and what Rahul was explaining to me, is how is it I don't know if it's even been updated since he said this, but that it can provide 1,000 different increments of adaptive resistance.
Oh, yeah.
So that you're constantly being, and I guess that's very similar to ARX, but just in the context of the bike,
No, absolutely. We have, because it's all computer controlled, the resistance, first of all, has to be calculated based on the formula that the scientists use. Number two, it has to be applied at exactly the right time, beginning of the sprint. It's almost instant, it has to be instantly applied. So, the scientists will say you have to go from, they have terms for it, and I wish I could remember, but you go from just very, very gentle cycling to absolute max instantly. That's what has to happen. And it just would be impossible for you to guess at that on any other bike. You just wouldn't know, let alone apply it. And because we are adaptive and because we're watching your improvements, yes, we will change resistance, but could do it in decimal points because it's all computer controlled. There's no knobs or anything. And it's CAR.O.L is in control. Recently, I've done 2 rides now. She's told me that she's pushed me too hard, and she bloody well did. Actually, I was exhausted, and so she's taking it down for me for my next ride. I look forward to that.
Good old Carol.
So we have a lot of resistance settings so that we can cope with a lot of people. Yeah.
Excellent, good stuff. Let's just quickly mention, what's the time scale? Remind me, this promotion. Rahul did email me, but do you know that off the top of your head when this expires? Is it April 25th? Is it or something?
I think we're just going to watch the situation for as long as it takes for this whole thing to resolve. And so we're watching it month by month, and we'll take it from there. Yeah.
Okay, so its promotion is currently ongoing, and you'll just keep people posted as to when it stops.
Yeah.
Based on the situation. That's fair enough. And you mentioned there about support. That's great. That you're able to help with things like graphics and media, and you've already been very helpful in that regard with me. I also want to just extend some support here. If people are listening to this, they need help with email campaigns or messaging or anything like that in how they position this to their clients, then I'm more than happy to help and give my 2 cents. And please just email me if you want that. That's Lawrence@highintensitybusiness.com, because I just want to try and make this campaign as successful as possible, as I think it's going to be enormous help to the industry. So any final thoughts from yourself, Ratna? Any sort of words of wisdom related to this opportunity for the HIIT studio owners, how they can make sure that they effectively convince their clients that this is the best thing since sliced bread? Well, you've already said a lot, but
I think I've said a lot. And if they have clients and the clients have used CAR.O.L, then they will know that this is true. I can send them some more of the testimonials, particularly from Mark and all they have. I mean, I don't know. I can either send them to you, Lawrence, or they can write into us and we can send these out if they want to use that. They are bona fide testimonials. People just write into us. They're incredible. And then I would just say, if there's any help that we can give you in any way, we are more than happy to. I'm more than happy to. I'll be personally willing to help you in any way that I can. I love doing this. I really love helping my client. I have to say we're very blessed. Our customers are incredible. Not just the studio owners, but also the consumers who've bought them. They are generally always so polite. They're always so willing to go with, sometimes we fail. Of course we do. There's going to be some issue with delivery or whatever, but they always, stay with us, and we value them, and we do everything we possibly can to make things right for them. So please don't hesitate. If you want to reach out to me or to Ulrich, who's my co-founder, he's the product guy. We've got marketing people. Anyone you want to talk to or have help with, just email. It'll be our pleasure.
How do they? Could you give your email address on the show? Is that okay?
It's Ratna, R-A-T for Tommy, N for Never, A for Andrew, .Singh, that's Lala with an H at the end. So it's S for sugar, I for India, N for Never, G for goodness, H for Harry, at CAR.OLFitAI.com.
I got to say that was the worst attempt at the phonetic alphabet I think I've ever heard, Ratna.
I'm so sorry.
But it was very entertaining. So maybe that's actually better and more memorable for people.
What? Especially for what? Wonder Man? Wonder Bread?
Yeah. Do you know what I thought would be maybe a good idea for you to make this easy is when you have people, I mean, again, I know you're doing this all on the fly, and I know there isn't like necessarily a process and a system in place for all of this stuff. But when you have people apply via the landing page you set up for this campaign, you might want to just make it so that you ping people a whole library of testimonials they can leverage, because social proof is critical. And the more social proof people can use in their campaigns to their clientele, the better, more effective this will be. So.
Yeah, especially for something that's, got this, oh, come on, get out of here type
exactly.
reaction. Yeah.
Well, I think, as I said at the start of this, I think you'll find that in my particular industry, it's the clients aren't going to be, they're already bought into high intensity strength training. So think ARX, they've already bought into the fact that they can get a minimum effective dose when it comes to profound adaptations for their health and fitness from very, very little time invested. So they're already bought into that. So as far as fitness audiences go, I think this is going to be the most receptive there is. So I'm quite excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I really am excited. And guys, if you have ways to explain CAR.O.L that work for you, or you have stories to share with us about, how you are pushing the boundaries, the challenges that you have found, and also how you've overcome those challenges, which messages resonate. I think that'll be great for all of us, not just me and you, but all of us, to learn from each other, because we are all inverting that pyramid. It's not just me, it's you, it's the customers who are out there, it's you, Lawrence. We are doing it. And so I think we just need to help each other on this one too.
I agree. So just to repeat the offer there, so it's $500 commission per unit sold during the campaign, free shipping for the end user, and free first year subscription. Is that correct?
That's right.
And just to reiterate, I will have obviously a link. Look out for that in the intro. If you fast forwarded this podcast, go back to the introduction, and there will be a note from me about exactly what you have to do in order to take advantage of this opportunity in terms of what website you need to go to and stuff like that. And if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, this device sounds amazing, and you're interested in acquiring it for your own studio, then please check out my episode with Rahul Bernath, which is number 205. And there's a promotion there, which is only obviously available to the commercial listener, to the studio owner, and which is different to this. And then obviously there's the episode I did with Tom Toombs, which is 246, and that's a case study on his experience implementing it within his business. Ratna, thanks so much for your time. This has been a lot of fun. It's been really nice to finally connect with you. I appreciate it.
Oh, not at all, Lawrence. I'm so grateful that you had me. I'm so grateful that we could chat, and I thank you very much. I really enjoyed it, and congratulations on your new baby. And I hope did it all go okay with all this chaos? Were you able to get the delivery right?
Yeah. So no, he was born 10th of December. So thank God. Okay. Long before this hit. So we're just going through the really interesting phase of trying to get him to sleep and. Sorry, what was that?
I said, I don't envy you. I've been through two of those.
Yeah, it's to be honest, my fiance has been amazing. She's been very much taken most of the workload in that respect and allowing me to focus on business, which I'm very grateful for. Obviously, in the beginning, you have to really share the responsibility regarding the rocking him when he won't sleep, and sort of give each other a break. And that was really intense at the beginning, but now I'm very fortunate. She allows me to get the full 7 to 8 hours, and then she looks after him, and he's breastfeeding, so she's out probably every 3 or 4 hours. So she's been amazing, to be honest with you.
Good God, you sound like a hero. Wow, amazing.
Yeah, well, I think all you women are pretty amazing. I was
a grumpy old bastard. I swear. I spent 7 years being grumpy of this kid.
How many kids do you have?
At all. I'd get up in the morning and say, "Are you hungry again?"
How many do you have then? Obviously, you got Rahul. How many others are there?
I've got another one. I've got a little girl called Aria. She's not that little. She's just turned 14 and she's suddenly become a teenager. Yeah. And I had Rahul when my water broke literally when I was in a meeting and he came a week early and I only had 6 weeks off as maternity leave and I was back at work and it was pretty hard, pretty brutal. But, I love work. I love my work. I just like to work. So
good for you.
It was my choice. Yeah, it was my choice, but still, it is a real strain on your body and your system. And so I hats off to your wife, and I'm not jealous.
yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's a great dynamic because I honestly could do what she does. I think it's just an eye opener, isn't it? Because you go into this. Obviously, I knew nothing about any of this stuff, and I still feel so ignorant, and you're sort of learning as you go. But just for example, just when it's quite obvious to me that growing a business or working a full-time job, and obviously there are some very challenging jobs out there, so maybe this is me being generic. It seems to me it'd be much harder to raise a baby than it is to do those things. So I think her job's a lot harder than mine. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, though. I mean, I've learned that now over the years because you're right. You don't know, right? They don't come with the operating manual, do they?
Right.
And there's no license. And everyone around you has a different opinion. And
God, yeah.
Your mom's got an opinion, your dad's got one, your best friend. Everyone has an opinion. So I think you just have to go with your instinct. And that's it. Just stick with that. And yeah, I mean, I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to try and be perfect parents. I remember when I had Rahul, and this is in the US, nobody was saying the word no to the children. It was like, let's not do that, or let's not think about it versus no, you can't do it. And, I think mine turned out fine and yours will turn out fine as well. Everything. I just wish that we all found a way to reduce the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just bringing it back to obviously the current situation with this virus, it's in a way. I mean, I know you have a very positive outlook, and I agree. I do feel like obviously there's a lot of people struggling right now, but I do also feel like there's enormous opportunity, and it's a real test for each of us. And it's funny because I'm quite used to working from home because I run an online business, and my fiance is here quite a lot because she's looking after our baby. But she does go to these like women's groups of other mums a couple times a week, and so it's been hard on her because that for her was really, really important. But hey, look, we're all self-isolating right now, so we're all kind of having to go through this together. So let's just grin and bear it. And there's people have been through far worse than what we're going through, so just have to remember that.
And I know my take on that, honestly, Lawrence, is that I think it was the universe's way of saying humanity, go on reset. And I think that's exactly what's happening. I'm sure you see it. I'm sure your listeners see it, that people are literally coming out and helping as much as they possibly can, like clapping for our NHS. Those guys are amazing. I think it'll change the world. I hope for the better. I really do.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy listening to your outlook on this. Awesome. So thanks again for joining me, and for everyone listening. To find the blog post for this episode and download the PDF transcript, please go to highintensitybusiness.com and search for episode 260. And until next time, thank you very much for listening.
Discover how to achieve your health and fitness goals, become a great personal trainer, and build a successful, high-intensity training business. Check out highintensitybusiness.com. highintensitybusiness.com.